Roald Amundsen. He lived from 1872 until his tragic death in 1928 when he tried to rescue Umberto Nobile, who had crashed with his airship into the Arctic Ocean. In the years 1903 to 1906, he sailed with a Gurja, a ship, the Northwest Passage. And previously, other people, they had always walked a part of a distance on the ice. And then he wrote a book about it, Amundsen's Northwest Passage, in 1908. And then there was another person, Roald Peary, who made it in 1909 to the North Pole. Roald Amundsen wanted to do it as the first person, but it wasn't working anymore, so in 1911, Roald Amundsen became the first person to reach the South Pole on the 4th of December. 35 days later, Robert F. Scott made it. And Roald Amundsen then did some other things with airplanes or with airships. Together with Umberto Nobile, he was able, after some unsuccessful attempts, in 1926 to fly over the North Pole. And he also contributed a lot to the scientific and geological knowledge in the Arctic. He did it with dogs and on skis going to the South Pole from the Ross Sea at the Bay of Wales. And that is he was from Norwegia. And that is according to Exploring the Ocean by Trevor Day on the pages 34 and 35. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and not necessarily aligned with my own or with the ones of the entity spoken of. Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn maritime studies. Today, Roald Amundsen, and after we've done it, we're going to do standing yoga. And if you participate in the standing yoga, then it's better at your own risk. And this is the second part. Now we try to do the presentation about Roald Amundsen. So I want to say he was born in 1872 and lived until his tragic death in 1928 when he tried to rescue Umberto Nobile, who had crashed with his airship. So I don't say plane, airship, in the Arctic Ocean. But before that, he was from Norway, and he was on the Gudrun, a ship, and with that he sailed the Northwest Passage from 1903 to 1906. Before him, people have done it. People have always walked a part of it on the ice. They don't explain anything, but I remember something, that someone at that time intentionally got frozen into the ice, waited till the next year and then sailed on, because he needed 3 years for it. Was it Roald Amundsen? Maybe. Okay, and then he wrote a book in 1908, Amundsen's Northwest Passage. In 1911, there was Robert Peary, who reached the North Pole. Roald Amundsen wanted to do it actually as the first person in the world, but there was still no one at the South Pole, so he was the first person 2 years later, 1911, at the South Pole on the 4th of December. It doesn't really make sense to mention it there, but if I would mention it, 35 days later, Robert F. Scott reached also the South Pole. He was from Britain. And he was not just a way of journeying there, he also contributed to the scientific and geological knowledge of Antarctica. And in 1918 he went again to the north of Europe, and with a Maud this time, Gudrun and Maud. With a Maud he sailed the northern coast of Europe and Asia. So north of Russia. And Scandinavia, north of Scandinavia and Russia. And then there were some unsuccessful attempts, but in 1926 he flew with a blimp, an inflatable airship, together with Umberto Nobile, who had built and piloted it over the Arctic. Am I able to save it? Roald Amundsen. He lived from 1872 until his tragic death in 1928, where he tried to rescue Umberto Nobile, who had a crash with his airplane in the Arctic Ocean. Okay, but it's not good. I want to look over what was it? It was an airship, so it was an airship, not an airplane. And it was the Arctic Ocean. Roald Amundsen. He lived from 1872 until his tragic death in 1928 when he tried to rescue Umberto Nobile, who had, with his airship, an accident and crashed into the Arctic Ocean north of the Earth. He was from Norwegia, and he was an explorer, and with the ship Gjør, he sailed the Northwest Passage from 1903 until 1906, so 3 years did he needed for that journey. Previously, other people had always walked when a part of a distance over the ice. I think the Northwest Passage is over the top of the Earth. The book isn't saying it. And I think he did with the getting frozen with a ship and waiting till the next year and then sailed on. But I don't know if the book is not saying it. Now, what when he wrote a book about it? In 1908, Amundsen's Northwest Passage. And then there was Robert Gray, who in 1911, okay, no, that's not right. It was Robert Perry, so it's the first thing, and it was in 1909. Okay, 1909. Maybe we should do it next time. I'm not sure if I'm able to solve it right now. It's just 5-6 numbers, but I'm not sure if I'll get them. Robert Perry. But why not? We remember it. Better while I do it. Robert Perry, 1909. Roald Amundsen. He lived from 1872 until his tragic death in 1928 when he tried to rescue Umberto Nobile, who had crashed with his airship into the Arctic Ocean. In the years 1903 to 1906, he sailed with a Gjør, a ship, the Northwest Passage. And previously, other people, they had always walked a part of a distance on the ice. And when he wrote a book about it, Amundsen's Northwest Passage in 1908. And then there was another person, Robert Perry, who made it in 1909 to the North Pole. Roald Amundsen wanted to do it as the first person, but it wasn't working anymore, so in 1911, Roald Amundsen became the first person to reach the South Pole on the 4th of December. 35 days later, Robert F. Scott made it. And Roald Amundsen then did some other things with airplanes or with airships. Together with Umberto Nobile, he was able, after some unsuccessful attempts, in 1926 to fly over the North Pole. And he also contributed a lot to the scientific and geological knowledge in the Arctic. He did it with dogs and on skis going to the South Pole from the Ross Sea at the Bay of Wales. And that is according, he was from Norwegia. And that is according to Exploring the Ocean by Trevor Day on the pages 34 and 35. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and not necessarily aligned with our own or with the ones of the entity spoken of. That was the Maritime Studies part. If you are here for Maritime Studies, you can go directly to the next part of Maritime Studies. There we will continue with Maritime Studies. If you stay here and participate in the standing yoga, and spread your arms. Have the feet standing together, the reef in the arms up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down. I wanted to say that you wrote a book, The Sea Voyage. Oh, yeah, things. In and up. Out up to the side. In and up. Out up to the other side. In and up. Make an inch of space between the feet onto the side. In and up. Out and sink a bit down. In and up. Out up to the other side. In and up. Out and down again. In and up. Out and sink down and lean onto the knees. Breathe again in. And out, make a hill with the back. In the middle. And out the belly with the back. In the middle. Out the head, in the middle, out the belly, middle, and come with around back up at the top of the backward shoulder. In the arms up onto tiptoe, and out and sink down, whisking down to the knees. In and up again. Out and down. In and up. Hands down, heels down. And in and up, the arms up, feet together. And out and down. Bend the right leg, stretch left one. And change. Out and down. Again, middle. And the right knee, lift the left arm to the sky, look up, and again down. Bend the left knee, right arm up to the sky, look up, and again down. Make a hand of space between the feet, shift the weight to the heels, breathe in and out. And out and up again. In and down, out and up. Take hold of the elbows and gently go from side to side. Have the feet again standing together. Breathe and come halfway up with straight back. Out and down. In halfway up, straight back. Out and down. Breathe in. And out come slowly with a round back up at the top of the backward shoulder. Have feet standing a bit apart. In the arms up. Out, sink down, elbows against the inside of the knees. Breathe in, straighten up. And out, come with the back up. Breathe it in. Out and down. In and straighten up. Out, come in one straight line up. Hands down, breathe out. In, hands up. Out, sink down. Breathe in. Out, come with the back up. Again in. Out and down. In and straighten up. Out and up. Hands down. Have the feet standing together. In the arms up. Out, lean back, open the chest to the sky. In and up. Out and back. In and up, intertwine the fingers, reach high. Out, reach in front, hold up the back, head down, breathe out. Change, intertwining, reach high. Out in the front, hold up the back, head down. In and up. Out, lean back with long arms. In and up. Out and back. In and up. Out, lean back with long arms, pull the shoulders together, the elbows down. In and up. Out and back with long arms, pull the shoulders together, elbows down. In and up. Out the hands down. In and up the hands. Out and back up the chest to the sky. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down, and a bit more impulsive, in and up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down, one more time. In and up. Bring the hands to touch and down to heart center. That was the standing yoga. I thank you very much, and until the next time.